Hello everyone, this is seller newsletter number 2 for the fall 2022 sale. If you missed the first one, it will be at the bottom of your email, and the link to the video would be right there. Also, you can also find the video on our YouTube channel, and then you can find it posted to Facebook. They should all still be made available to you, so definitely go check those out. If you have not, if you signed up since last Wednesday, you would not have been included in that email. So make sure that you go check that out so you have all the information you need. All right, let's get started. So a really common question we get from sellers, probably one of the most common questions, is questions regarding how to make it so that your items are most likely to sell, okay? And so we want to kind of give you some tips just from our experience. Everybody has different experiences at the sale, but we want to kind of give you the general things that tend to help everybody. One big thing to remember is that clean equals green. All right. And what we mean by that is that when items come to the sale clean, refreshed, ready to go, they're much more likely to sell. Okay. So keep in mind that we do have a quality policy where we will pull items that are not clean. But we're talking about like nooks and crannies, things like that. Please make sure that you are bringing your items clean, because even if an item's in good shape otherwise and is cleanable, people are just less likely to picture their child using something that looks dirty. They may not want to take the risk of it not coming clean. So if you bring your items clean to the sale, they are much more likely to sell. Dirty items are just not going to sell. They just don't. I do give a link in the website that's a really helpful page for some different tips on getting stains out of clothing. Don't give up on them. Sometimes you'd be surprised the things that you can get out. Make sure that you're checking your clothing really well. A big tip I can give you is anything that's any infant clothing, shirt, collar area. I can't tell you how many onesies that I put away perfectly clean, and when I pulled them out for my next child a couple years later, they had spit up stains along the neck that had developed just over time. So really watch for those. I can tell you that a lot of stains really become apparent under the lights in the armory. So really make sure you're checking those things out. I know somebody last year suggested using a ring light to inspect items, which is a great tip. If it's possible, look at them under different lighting. I know that sounds really finicky, but nothing is more frustrating than putting in the effort to prepare an item for the sale, getting it to the armory, and discovering that there's staining on it, okay? Let's see. People want to know that items work, okay? So if you have a battery-operated item, technically you do not have to bring that with batteries in it, but I can tell you that battery-operated items are not going to sell unless they have batteries in them. People will assume they do not work. So I highly encourage you go to the dollar store and pick up some cheap batteries. If nothing else, put them in there just so that people can see that the item works, okay? Pricing. So I always say that one of the best things about our sale is that you get to price your own items. But one of the hardest things about our sale for some sellers is you get to price your own items. Okay, so I know it can feel a little overwhelming, especially if you are newer to the sale. But I do link a guide in the email that will kind of give you a starting off point. So keep in mind that people are coming to our sale looking for a deal. I anticipate that this sale is going to be even more like that, just with prices and everything the way they are. People are coming to our sale looking to get a bargain, okay? So if you do not want your item coming home, you need to price it accordingly, okay? So I know it can be really hard, especially if it's an item that holds some sentimental value. Sometimes when you look at that item, it holds so much more value to you because your child used it, right? But you really have to try to step back, be objective about it. I encourage you to look on different websites and see maybe what similar items are going for. Look at the retail price of it and consider that people want to pay literally a fraction of what an item costs new. They do not want to be paying around what the item would be new. They want to be getting a bargain, okay? Preparing your items, people want to see what they're buying. So a big thing we see this in is bedding. So if your bedding is packaged up so that people really can't see what the item looks like, it is not going to sell, okay? So I encourage you to lay it out in such a way that people can see it. Stock photos or photos you have of the item are perfectly fine. If you have labels, if you have anything like that you can put on it, if you have like something that's a big group of items like nursery decor, something like that, listing everything that's included, totally allowed. If you have any questions and need any tips, we've definitely seen lots of different ideas that sellers have come up with over the years. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you need ideas. The Facebook group is also so handy for this. There's some really creative sellers in there who can give you some really good ideas about ways to prepare your items to make it most likely to sell. We know you guys put a lot of work into preparing items for the sale, and we want you to be successful. Okay. Also, just keep in mind that some categories are really tough. We get literally thousands of clothing pieces. Even really nice items may not sell just because there's so many of them. But if you're pricing accordingly, if you're thinking about there's going to be a whole lot of onesies here, I need to price my items accordingly, it's much more likely those items are going to sell. Okay. All right. Let's see. Final thing with that, we have a particular way that items need to be prepared for the sale, especially clothing. So please make sure you're watching the video so that you know how to bring your items ready to go. If you have any questions about it, let me know. But hopefully once you watch the video and look on the website, you should be good to go. It's simple once you get going, but it's just very particular. Make sure you have your drop-off appointment scheduled. Everybody needs to have one. And then if you're planning to pick up any unsold items, you also need to have a pickup appointment. The system will actually allow you to make the pickup appointment closer to the date, so that is an option, but just keep in mind that you may not have as many options for the time. Make sure that you have that drop-off appointment, and the earlier you do that, the more likely you are to get an appointment time that you need. You will not be able to make that drop-off appointment once the system closes that Sunday before the sale, so make sure that you do that sooner rather than later. And remember that time frame, so it's a 15-minute time frame, that is just the time that you were arriving. Most sellers plan to spend about 45 minutes at the armory putting their items away. We do have our drop and run option, but most of our sellers find it's not a big deal just to put their items away, and they like being able to kind of see how the floor is laid out and everything. So just keep that in mind when you're making that appointment, making sure that you are allowing enough time for yourself to do that. Okay. All right. Okay. Final thing, donation. So we get a lot of questions about what the donation option means when you're entering items. So this is actually something that we're really, really proud of at Little Britches. So if your item does not sell, you have the option of electing it for donation. Okay. What this means is the item is going to be on the sales floor exactly the same as every other item. Okay. There's just one little indicator on the tag. Most of our shoppers aren't even going to know that that item is eventually going to go for donation. Totally looks the same as the rest of them. Okay. Now, if you mark an item for a donation, you are not able to choose to not let it go to half price. And the reason for that is because the system assumes you would rather sell an item at half price than not at all. So we sometimes get questions about that. So just be aware of that. But anyways, so donation. So how that works. First off, please know that we are big believers in keeping our donations local. Okay. That is incredibly important to us. We in Manhattan, and the surrounding areas, we're really lucky that we have some amazing organizations who are doing work in the community, and we want to support them. Okay. So how this works is first we have an after sale donation party. And the way that works is we have different organizations around town that work with families in need. Okay. And we send them invitations to the donation party. All right. And then they are able to distribute those invitations to the families that they work with. Okay. So we leave it up to them to determine the families who have a need for it. And so those families are able to kind of come shop the donation items from the sale for free. It's always really cool to see because families get to come in and, pick items for their families, which is pretty neat. And they're able to get things that they are needing. Okay. Anything that's left over from that, we have an incredible partnership with Judy from Toys for Manhattan. And what she does is she picks up everything left over because she is an incredible human being. And what she does is anything that Toys for Manhattan can use. Toys for Manhattan is an organization that provides holiday gifts for families in the community. And she picks everything up. Okay. And if there's anything that Toys for Manhattan cannot use, she distributes it to other local organizations. So she works with Ogden Friendship House, Fit Closet, Life Choice Ministries, and various other organizations around town. And she kind of is aware of the things that they are needing. We cannot tell you how lucky we are to have her around. So know that your donations do stay local. I totally understand that that is important to people. It's important to us too. So just be aware of that. So if you are toying with the idea of whether or not to market for a donation, that's the information you need to know about items getting donated after the sale. All right, I think that is everything. Again, if you missed last week, if you signed up since last Wednesday, you're going to need to go back to look at the sales newsletter number 1. It's at the bottom of the email being sent out with this. Please don't hesitate to let us know if you have any questions. Oh, one final thing is that volunteer registration does open this Saturday morning at 9 a.m. And I strongly encourage you to volunteer. Volunteering gets you into shop even before the sellers get to shop, okay? And it's in exchange for a 4-hour shift. And I can tell you a lot of people, especially new sellers, really like volunteering because in the next sale, they feel like they know more, they feel more prepared. It's a really great way to get to know the sale, get to know other people. So I strongly encourage you to do that. And you can actually just do that right there through your consignor workstation. It makes it super easy. All right, thank you.